Hello there, and welcome back to Force Perspectives. I am your host, Michael Cohen, and joining me, as always, we have the beleaguered Joe Hogan.
To believe, yeah. Oh, okay. All right. I like it.
I think we're all a little beleaguered at the
Yeah.
moment. I think that that's a good descriptor for any one of us out there in the world dealing with the nonsense that's going on in the world. But you just got back from a pretty whirlwind trip selling hawking your wares
Yeah.
down at the Disney World, and yeah, lots of people buying awesome Star Wars art from you, I assume.
I don't know if the artwork from me was awesome, but there were a lot of them, and they did buy it. Um, Tina did really well too. Tina was also a signing artist, so we were a little power couple. And basically, I mean, we weren't doing it on purpose at first, but then later on we started doing it because it was helping us. But like, we were signing separately. Like, Tina's hour was before mine, and then I was the 2
Yeah,
hours behind her, but, like, I wanted to watch her sign and help her out and, you know, help her with in general if she needed anything and vice versa. So, we were sticking around the table for each other. But we started saying, like, "Oh, we're saving to get married. We're actually engaged. I did these, she did these," and it ended up boosting our sales because people immediately were like, "Oh, that's great. Let's yeah, well, we'll take one for sure." I was like, "Oh, all right." And after a while, we would just like nudge it into almost every sale. Um, but yeah, it was awesome. It was really awesome. Everybody who came out was super cool. Uh, Super excited to talk Star Wars and Clone Wars and Mandalorian and even Star Wars Visions. It was great. It was just happy people. It
that's
was
awesome.
nice. It was nice to be in a happy place.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe the only happy place in Florida. Um,
Yeah.
the entire state. Everybody knows Orlando's not part of Florida; it's
Right.
Disney property.
Right.
Um,
I have a
but
question for you that's
yeah,
already a tangent. So we finally got to ride Tron. Do
yeah.
you guys have that in Disneyland also?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. I believe
Okay.
it's at Disney World and it's at Shanghai.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah, and
Cool.
Shanghai was the first one, and then Disney World was the second. The
Mhm.
second one. I believe that they're basically the same ride.
Okay.
But yeah, no. So I have not gotten to ride Tron yet.
Okay.
The rumor, I don't know. Actually, I don't know if it's a rumor or if they've said this, at a D23 or something. Um, but the word on the street, as far as I remember, is that Autopia will go away at some point, and
Mm.
Tron will go in that spot. Um, that's the plan for Disneyland.
Okay, cool.
But I mean, like, they just at the last D23 they revealed all of their plans for the third gate, right? So
Mm.
um with all of the, like, the villain world and all of that stuff, over where Disneyland Hotel is. So um yeah, like, I don't think that there's anything Tron in any of that they announced. There's a bunch of Avatar stuff in
Okay,
the
cool.
like, that's basically like attached to California Adventure.
Mhm.
Because what it'll basically be is, like, I refer to as a third gate, but because I believe it will be, like, I think that there will be a third entrance into the parks. But
Okay,
I think
cool.
that what it might end up doing eventually is connecting all three parks together,
Mm.
so that you
Interesting.
don't actually have to leave a park in order to get to another one, or at least,
Mhm.
like, the new stuff and California Adventure will definitely be connected, because the Avatar stuff, I think, like, sort of encroaches into that area,
Mhm.
and all of that. But yeah, it's very
Is it
exciting.
new Avatar stuff or is it like Flight of Passage?
One of the rides is new, and then
Okay.
one of them is the river one.
Okay. That one's fine.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah, because one of them one of them is definitely, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I recall one of them is like that more, like, chill, like, river ride. But then
Mhm.
there's like a I think that they haven't really shown what the ride is yet. They just showed a piece of concept art of, like, a ride vehicle and then, like, the whale. from
Okay.
the second movie. So
Okay.
it's like I think that their intent is that the California Adventure one will be more based on the second movie and the stuff that's coming out rather
Okay.
than like Pandora in Florida is very much because at the time that's all there was is very much
Mhm.
based on the first movie. Um, so yeah, I think that's what they have planned, but they've got all that stuff, and then they've got more way more Avengers Campus stuff coming, and then the villain world, and I think that's what they announced, but they haven't really talked a lot about changes to Disneyland.
Mhm.
I'll say one thing that happened in the time since we last recorded is that they announced that Luke Skywalker is finally coming to Galaxy's Edge in California.
Cool.
So
Like, all
yeah,
right.
yeah. So you'll be able to get pictures with Luke. I don't think that they've shown the full costume yet. They just did like a teaser of him like from behind with the cloak on, and he's
Okay.
very clearly wearing the black outfit.
Mhm.
But it's just he kind of just like walks into frame and then puts his hand on R2 in front of the Falcon.
Mhm.
Um, so it's unclear if it's Return of the Jedi Luke or if it's Mando Luke. I think it's Mando Luke, and I think that that's
Yeah.
kind of the intent is
Yeah, that
that
makes sense.
I think what they've done, I think what they are doing, and I think with Mando and Grogu coming out is that they are going to shift away from the sequel trilogy stuff for a minute and really focus in on the Mando era stuff
Mhm.
until we'll talk about this in a second before we get into the actual topic of the episode. But because two big things were announced, the Luke Skywalker thing at Galaxy's Edge, which sort of is implying all of this, like, okay, so Mando and Grogu is going to be the big thing, and they're going to like pump that for the next couple of years. Um, so I'll bet I'm sure we will probably because we've seen everybody from like Ahsoka and Mando and Book of Boba Fett on all of that, right? Like we've got the new Mando and Grogu walk around. We've got Boba and Fennec, um, Ahsoka. Hera has been out at points. I don't know that she's a regular character, but she was out at one point around the time that the series was out. So I'm guessing that by the time that like Mando and Grogu hits, that other characters that are going to be featured in that movie will show up. My guess is that Luke will be in that movie, which is why they're getting ready to roll him out at the park. And I yeah, so like there'll be like that, and then probably like Ezra around the time that we get to like season 2 of Ahsoka. I would imagine that they would want to bring Ezra out for photo ops and stuff. But then eventually, when we get to the next trilogy, the New Jedi Order trilogy, that then at that point they'll shift back to the sequel characters, um, and we'll get we've already got Rey and Chewie walking around all the time, but I'm sure that we'll end up with like Poe and Finn and all of those characters. I say that very confidently because I mean nothing has been officially announced because they're obviously going to do a big reveal at Star Wars Celebration in Japan. But last week I think they announced that Oscar Isaac is going to be in Japan,
Mhm.
and that's the missing piece. That was the missing piece. That was like because the shift from Daisy Ridley's return to a new trilogy has just been a rumor. It hasn't been officially confirmed by any source, right? It's
Mhm.
just been like a sort of like I think like maybe like Deadline or somebody like that like sort of broke it, but like it hasn't actually been said by Disney or Lucasfilm. But we've gotten lots and lots of chatter about John Boyega returning at one point. This was like
Mhm.
months ago, like maybe back in the summer, maybe even earlier than that. And that was one of the things that was delaying stuff. And then getting the word that Oscar Isaac is going to be at Star Wars Celebration. It's like, why would he go to Star Wars Celebration in Japan? Why? He doesn't need to. Like, he's one of the most sought after actors in Hollywood right now. Like he's busy, he's booked. The only reason that he would show up is if he's contractually obligated to show up. And the only reason that he would be contractually obligated to show up to a Star Wars celebration is if he signed a new contract for a new trilogy of movies. Um, so yeah, I I really hold out hope now that that's essentially I confirm all but confirmed. Um, Now is the point where I start hoping that the thing that brought him back is that that they're gonna let him and Finn be a thing. Now that's not it's not gonna happen, especially not in the climate that we're in right now. I don't think that Disney's gonna take that ridiculous risk. But maybe they're just gonna try and sneak it in. Maybe they're just gonna kind of if you're a fan of the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, that third Sonic movie really goes out on a note that implies heavily a relationship between two characters that I was never anything but could be something, and definitely can all but confirms one character's side of that relationship at least. Yeah, like I think that they could definitely do something similar with Finn and Poe, where they don't actually say it, but like, come on, it would be really easy, actually. It's super easy, and Pablo Hidalgo laid the groundwork. Not to send people his way. That want nobody listening to this is going to be that type of person. They're going to be the type of person that's going to say thank you, Pablo, for putting this in there. So in the Last Jedi visual dictionary, in that movie, Poe has a necklace with a ring on it, right? And the visual dictionary calls it out as like it's like an heirloom or something like that. I don't know exactly what it says off the top of my head, but it's basically like calls it out as like a thing culturally significant to Poe, that like when he finds the person that he wants to be with, he'll give them that ring, like he'll give them the necklace
Mm.
and the ring. And I all you would have to do is just put that necklace on Finn and then not say anything and just have the two, like, just let Oscar Isaac and John Boyega continue to perform those characters in the way that they did in the last two movies, right? After the Force Awakens dropped and everybody was like, I think those two are into each other. And then I yeah, like because they played it that way in Last Jedi. And then despite uh, Disney and Lucasfilm's best efforts to tell everybody that Poe is super straight in Rise of Skywalker. I mean, at least Oscar played that character as queer as possible. Like I said this on Blue Sky, and I'll say it here. The way that Oscar Isaac took a moment that is meant to cement Poe Dameron as a straight character, right? At the very end of the movie, when he like looks across the crowd at Zori Bliss and makes the little face, right? Like he kind of like raises his eyebrow at her, and she just like shakes her head, and he just kind of goes, yeah, okay, and walks away. He could not have performed that in a more gay fashion. I do not mean that as a pejorative. I mean that like just as a descriptor. Like, watch the way he does that. It is
I'm gonna pull it up right now because I'm
it
curious.
is as like
Sweet.
gay coded queer as you could possibly make an eyebrow, right? It's so gay. And I choose to believe that that is intentional on Oscar's part, of him basically just giving a finger to Disney, who wouldn't allow them to play the characters the way that they wanted to play the characters, because he really pushed for Rise of Skywalker to go in that direction. He wanted that to be the case. So and I believe John Boyega was on board. I don't think that Oscar Isaac would have been pushing for it and talked about it publicly if John wasn't also like, yes, like let's do that. That would be great. Like let's play the characters this way. Um, I Yeah, but it is it is the gayest way that you could do that. It is also one of the gayest things in all of Star Wars, as far as I'm concerned. And there are some like actually gay characters in Star Wars, but like that is one of the best like queer moments. Is this very it's just not like it's not masculine the way that he does it, right? Like it's very like sort of I don't know. Effeminate's not even the right word, right? Like it's not even. It doesn't even go to that sort of thing. It's just he just straight up does it in like this kind of I don't know. It's just gay. It's just gay. That's just the best word to describe it.
That was pretty gay. I just saw it.
Right, it is, right? And for anybody who's like, how you can't talk about a character like that, or like you're saying that and it's a bad you're saying about listen, guys, like I like don't I'm not straight. Like and Poe Dameron is the reason. And I'm going to be super clear, as I've said on previous episodes. But if you're just tuning in because you saw that this episode was about Andor, and you're sitting here going, why is this guy talking about how gay Poe Dameron is? I'm talking about Poe Dameron, not Oscar Isaac. Now, Oscar Isaac in general and across a bunch of his other movies has also I it has like cemented my assertion that I am not a straight person. But but Poe Dameron is the one who like kicked that door in. Like Poe Dameron the character is the one who like kicked that door in, and then yeah, I it was after that that I was like, it got to a point. It gets to a point where you joke about it enough that you're like, am I joking? Like, am I joking? Is this just my insecurity? Like, is this just my own personal insecurity of like, no homo, guys? Like me basically saying that without saying the words no homo because that's a lame thing to do. I and it got to a point in my life where I was like, yeah, yeah. There's a great line in Community where Troy, it's actually Abed as Troy in the Dreamatorium. But in any case, it's Donald Glover, and he delivers the line, and he's like, I think he's talking about. I think it's Clive Owen that he's talking about. Is like, I he he finds Clive Owen so attractive that he may as well be attracted to him, right? And that's that like that's the door like just cracking open, right? Like that's just
Mm.
like the crack, like just a bit of light coming through that door. But I Poe Dameron specifically, I think in the Last Jedi, I is the reason why I had to start questioning and going like, what are you really, what are you really trying to say to the world here, Mike, when you joke around about how sexy Poe Dameron is? Because it's a lot. Like you say it a lot, every opportunity actually, to talk about how hot Poe Dameron is, I would take. So yeah, so that this is like I say all of that to say like I think that gives me a bit of license to be like, it's pretty gay. It's pretty gay. Also, as somebody who has been in the past accused of doing things in a pretty gay way, and now at 39, almost 40 years old, I'm like, yeah, because like because younger me would have been like, I'm super straight. I'm totally heterosexual. You're just being mean. But now I look at it and go like, first of all, not really an insult. So lame. And second, yeah, you're right. So what? like, like,
And
yeah, and what? Um, so I just the more times that I talk about this specific moment in the Rise of Skywalker, the more I'm like, yeah, Oscar did that on purpose. Like the dude is a very intentional actor, and it's such a like goofy way of doing it that it's like it it undercuts the moment so much of like oh like like he knows that he has no chance with her, but also like I don't think he actually cares. I don't think he's actually all that interested. I think he has somebody else that he would rather spend his days with. And yeah, so that's my take on Poe Dameron and his gayness, uh, and I think that Finn is just what's the right word for it? Finn is just like so clueless, like he's just such a himbo about everything that it would just be one of those things of like,
A himbo. I
yeah,
never
it's
heard that
just be.
before.
Have you never heard the word himbo
No, I
before?
like it. It's funny.
Oh yeah, it's like a male bimbo for people who
Yeah,
don't know.
I put it together. Yeah.
Because yeah, Finn is a male bimbo. Like, oh my god, I mean, like so is Poe, right? The Rise of Skywalker is this thing where it's like it's such a like the plot pisses me off so much, and what they did to Rey and Ben Solo makes me so frustrated. Yet it absolutely has some of the best Finn and Poe moments because it finally puts the two of them together in like an actual adventure, right? Like we actually get to see them like doing their thing together. And the moment, like it's one of my favorite moments in the entire sequel trilogy is like when they find out that Hux is the spy. And again, it's Oscar. He's so brilliant. His choices are so good. I'm so glad that he's coming back, even though it hasn't been officially announced, but it's absolutely obviously happening. Um, when he's like, "I knew it," and Finn's like, "No, you didn't. you didn't. You didn't know shit." That's I've connected the dots. You haven't connected shit. Yeah, so good. It's such a great moment, and it's like that's actually a moment of about three himbos. Chewbacca's in that scene as well, right?
I don't remember.
Because they've like that's like when they've like just rescued Chewie.
Okay, maybe.
I think, yeah, yeah. I think it's when they've like so I think Chewie's there too, and Chewie looks like a himbo, but isn't. I think that's important to know
Mm,
because he's not. Chewie's a little guy. We've talked about that.
yeah, but
Chewie's a
he's
little
sharp.
guy for sure.
He's sharp though.
But yeah, but he's not a himbo. Chewie is often like the smartest guy in the room, and it's like it's always the quiet ones, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I that is because Han is a himbo. Han is like one of the archetypical himbos, right? Like, and the reason why Finn and Poe are himbos is because Han and Luke are himbos, right? Like in the first movie. If it weren't for Leia, they would have died. They would have died on the Death Star. Like that just full stop. They you know you guys came in with you had a plan for getting in, but didn't have a plan for getting out. Like that whole thing, right? He's the brains, sweetheart. Like the two of them are just they really get by on sheer luck. And Chewie not being a himbo is exemplified in Solo when Kira sits down in the co-pilot chair and Han's like, I need you to blah 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 blah. And she's like, right, and I know how to do that. And then Chewie walks in and he's like, get out of the chair. And he sits down and he just starts hitting switches and he just starts doing the thing. And then Han's like, how, when did you learn to I think he says like, when did you learn to fly? And it's like, Han, you've known this guy for like a day. And then Chewie's like, I'm 200 years old. It's like, yeah, I think what Chewie probably said was like, I don't know, about 150 years ago, like when I was 10. Like I'm a Wookiee. Like we're good at this stuff. You don't know anything about anything, kid. And that's when Han is like, oh, you look really good for. Does he say 200? I think
I
he
think he's
says
in
200.
190.
190. That's right. He's 200. He's 200. Like at the end of
Yeah.
the 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 original trilogy, I think. But yeah, um, yeah, and that's the moment where you're like, oh, like yeah. I mean, it's not the moment. There are many moments in the original trilogy and other Chewie moments where you're like, Chewie is a very capable individual, possibly one of the only capable individuals other than Leia in Star Wars. But yeah, that's that moment in Solo where it's at least the moment where Han realizes like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I'm gonna stick around with this guy for a while. Um, and again, the only reason that Han survives as long as he does is because he's got Chewie with him. Yeah. These himbos would be long dead if it weren't for the women and Wookiees in their lives. Uh, uh, I think that's it. I think that's it. I think that's all I have to say on that subject.
All of that to
I
say, Oscar Isaac will be at Star Wars Celebration Japan
Yeah. So
this
if
year.
anybody's gonna be in Japan,
Mhm.
please get as close as you can to him. for me. It really important. It's really important. And then get to me as quickly as possible
Right.
so that I can just like whatever residual aura is left, I can just absorb it. Yeah. Oh man, I hope I get to meet him one day. I don't know what I would do. I honestly don't know what I would do, and I think I'm pretty good in those situations. Like when I've met famous people and done things and whatever that I've kept my composure pretty well. But that's one of those ones where it's like this isn't about how famous he is. it's about it's about the man himself, right?
Mm.
Like it's about yeah, yeah.
When
You-
when I went to, I guess it had to have been Anaheim celebration, the
mhm,
most recent one, 2022. I came in early to get to my table just because, I don't know why. I just like getting there early. So I show up about an hour and a half before the doors open to everybody. And as I'm walking through, Ewan McGregor and maybe three other people are standing in front of, there was like a display of the costumes from Kenobi.
mhm,
Um, and there was like, it was like a tiny film crew. And like, there were like one or two people kind of keeping their distance, but like staring at them and just like, I don't know, waiting for him to like interact with them or whatever. But I kept walking and I was just looking over there. In my head, I was flipping out, but
yeah,
I'm just looking at him. He looked at me directly in the eye, and I looked at him, and I just smiled and gave him a nod and kept walking in the opposite, not the opposite direction, but like I was going from
yeah.
his right to left. And he smiled and gave me a little nod, and that was it. That's all I needed. I was like, oh,
That's it. Yeah. I mean,
that's awesome.
I mean, like, yeah, like, listen, asking for more than that is greedy,
Yeah,
right? Because yeah, because that
yeah,
is like that's it. That's more than any of us
yeah,
are likely to ever get,
yeah.
right? That's like when I did the drawings when they were on the press tour the month before that, and I did the Hayden was showing up in all of the Vader inspired
Mhm.
outfits, and so I was like redrawing his outfits with him with the Vader helmet on and posting it, and Tracy, who I it was doing the press, was like leading the press for Lucasfilm for the show. She she follows me on Twitter and Instagram and whatever. She shared it with them, and
Oh, awesome.
and then like tweeted back like I just showed everybody and they love it, and it was like I don't even need to like I don't need to like see their faces.
Yeah.
I don't need like a visual confirmation to just simply know
Yep.
that Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen looked at my drawing and and smiled.
Yeah.
If that's all it was, and then
Yeah.
Tracy was like, "Oh, they loved it." Right? It's like if that's all it was, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yep.
That's enough. That's why I did it, right? Like that was exactly why I did it. Was just like you just hope that it gets back to them and that they see it and go like, "Cool," and
Yeah.
then go on with their day and never think about it again. But yeah, like the idea that Anakin and Obi-Wan looked at my art and went like, we like this.
Yeah.
That's yeah, that's the whole point. That's why a lot of artists will like play that that false humility game of like, oh, I do it, I do this because I'm passionate and I don't how people react to it, like I like it when people like my stuff, but it's like people will have that like that modesty. And I think that's I'm not knocking that. I think that's a good trait. I think it's an appropriate thing. But I also think that if you're honest, it's like, no, the reason I do this is for approval. Like that's why most of us do most of the things that we do, is that we're looking for somebody
Mm.
to say, hey, good job.
Yeah.
Hey, I saw what you did there and I like it.
Going straight to
um
the fridge, buddy.
yeah, and yeah, so like that's the name of the game. That's what it's all about. But and to I think to believe anything contrary to that as an artist is to delude yourself.
Mm.
Even the most like sort of uh anti-authoritarian or like aloof artist, like even Banksy is like, I hope everybody likes that one. you know
Mhm.
yeah, that's it's just the nature of it. It's why
Mm.
else? Why else do it? Um, I don't know. Maybe that just says more about me than it does about anybody else. But that's my take on it. I don't think that there's any artist out there who's like, I'm just doing this for me. If they are, then they're a psychopath. I think. I yeah. I Let's transition into what was going to be the main topic for
Oh
the next
yeah.
few weeks,
Whoops.
but is not going to be. Because I did it. I sat down and I watched the first 3 episodes of Andor season 1. Now I granted I have seen these episodes before. I I believe the first 2 episodes I had seen twice prior. I remembered them pretty accurately. The third episode I was like, "Oh, I forgot that this is kind of how this goes," and whatever. But um yeah, the plan was to do 4 episodes in the lead up to season 2, basically. I mean, in the lead up to Celebration, and then season 2 happening at the end of April. Um, because we never did an Andor recap back when it was airing. I but but I watched those first 3 episodes. We watched the first episode, and I was like, yeah, this show's pretty good. It is pretty good. I still have a lot of problems with it, but it's pretty good. Um, and then Crystal and I sat down to watch the second and third episode last night. And about halfway through the second episode, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can actually like get through the whole season um and stay positive on a podcast first and foremost, because it's like it's no fun if I'm just ripping the show for the things that I personally don't like about it. Not things that are bad, just things that I don't like. And then more than that, especially when we got into the third episode and we're watching it, the third episode is where it starts to get really, really tense. Um, and bad stuff starts happening across the board, right? Cassian starts making questionable choices. You've got I can't remember the character's name, but Stellan Skarsgård's character getting into the mix now, and him being like, just murder people, it's fine. Knowing where that goes, and I just all of it. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do this. I can't do it in the year 2025. Looking down the barrel of all of the ridiculous stuff that is happening in the world right now, that is like persistent daily psychic damage. You know, it's just like every morning you wake up and it's like, what did one of those two idiots say today? Right? Like which one of them said something that should, by all accounts, get them just like ejected from society at a rapid rate, um towards the sun. Uh and yet they keep getting away with it, and no one seems to be doing anything, and all of that. And then sitting and watching Andor, and it just like, and then it's happening in Star Wars too. Just watching it happen in Star Wars, and then reflecting on whatever nonsense was said yesterday or the day before that, for the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, at this point, almost, I guess, like 3 weeks. Yeah, I was just like, I can't. Knowing the prison stuff is coming, which makes me really anxious as well. I was just like, this isn't good. This isn't going to be good for me, right? Like, it's not going to be healthy for me to to go through all this. Um, because it's like it's hard enough right now to stay motivated and get up in the morning and go, okay, I got work to do. And I do. Like, I've got this role playing game that we're launching the book for. We're launching our backer kit, actually a month from today as we record this, on March 13th. And I just like, I need to stay focused. I need to stay like clear headed and positive that there's some sort of future. And granted, it all works out in the end in Star Wars for a little while at least. um, but knowing, Rogue One and all of that, it's just like it's a lot. It's just, I think it's just a lot. It's a lot right now. I thought maybe, and I said this on the last episode going into it, it's like maybe this is what I need, right? Is like a let me get this energy. And I think like that final episode for sure has that energy. Like the season 1 finale has that
Mm.
energy that I'm talking about. The rest of the season to build to that point, because that is the like the pressure cooker exploding, right? But there are 11 episodes of building the pressure to that point that makes it so effective. And so I had to make a call. I had to make a call, and I finished that third episode and was like, it's not happening. This isn't happening. I can't do it. I can't do 3 more episodes of this. And yeah, like keep my mental health intact and not be a total drag to listen to on a podcast. I want to like one of the things um when we originally kind of like, okay, so we're gonna stop doing all of these shows, right? Stop doing Faster, More Intense, stop doing Rebel Cells, stop doing the Thunderquack podcast. And Amanda and I were gonna shift and do a different show that we didn't end up doing. Um, when that fell apart, when that whole plan fell apart, and then I came back, one of my things was like really looking at what had happened with Quiver over the course of that series, over the course of the, what is it, 7 8 seasons of Arrow. um and and trying as hard as I could to avoid that fate, because the problem with Quiver is that like season 1 and 2 are fantastic because season 1 and 2 of Arrow are fantastic. And then season 3 is us going like, I don't know about these decisions. And then season 4 is us going like, why do they keep making this show worse? And then season 5 comes in, and you're like, oh, okay, they figured out how to do this properly again. And then season 6 is like, oh my God, we were so close. Why did they screw it up? And 7 and 8 are just better not talked about. I because yeah, like that show just eventually falls apart as the Arrowverse comes into being, and the other shows in that universe were way better, way more fun. And I was just sitting there going like, I really wish I was talking about those shows and not this show. So when that happened, I mean, that was 2020, right? And when Arrow officially ended, uh, and so we ended Quiver, and then Amanda and I were just kind of doing Thunderquack, and we did that for I think about a year, maybe a year and a half, and and then it was like, okay, we're gonna do this let's reboot Student Bodies thing. We came up with that idea, that all fell apart. So I had some time to reflect on all of that, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do podcasts, but what am I gonna do? And then that's where like Perfect 10 and Forced Perspectives came from, right? It was that like Perfect 10 was like, we're only going to talk about things that we love. That's the whole, not toxic positivity, not no matter what, this is good, right? Like it's not whatever's being presented to you and then spinning it in a good way. It is specifically seeking out things that make you happy, and that's all we're going to talk about on that show, are just things that make us happy.
Mm.
And although no one listens to that podcast, and there's nothing I can do about that, I other than continue to make it and send the episodes out into the void. um the experience of recording that podcast is my favorite. I love that podcast enough that if there's only 20 people listening, then all 20 of us are listening to the best podcast on the internet, as far as I'm concerned, right? And that's fine. I've resigned myself to that fate when it comes to Perfect 10. With Forced Perspectives, the idea was originally that I would bring on my friends and we would just talk about the things in Star Wars that they love and how they became Star Wars fans. and that was we did that for a little bit, but it was a little bit harder to nail down sort of a rhythm and a way to do that show. And then eventually, you and I started doing recaps on a regular basis, and then I think it was Book of Boba Fett where you came in and just like you did the whole season with me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I think
so.
maybe you like missed an episode in there, like I had somebody sub in, but for the most part, you were the regular co-host on
No,
that, and then
I think it was Bad Batch. Bad
well,
Batch.
Bad Batch is Rebel
Yeah.
Cells though, right? So like
Right,
that's
but that was when I kind of became
yeah,
like the regular.
that's true. Yeah, yeah. Bad Batch bringing you and Kyle in on that as regular co-hosts. That's true. And but then like we shifted you over here,
Yeah.
and then it became yeah like you and I just talking about these shows or whatever. And that's even when the shows are not great, we still have fun.
Mm.
But it's better when they're good. It's better when they're good. But it's like with Andor, I'm looking at it and I'm going like, this isn't. It's just not the analysis that I'm going to do on Andor is not something I think that's worthwhile putting out on the internet, right? Like I hope that makes sense to people that like there I think that there are a lot of people that just once they get into this zone of like talking on the internet in a professional or semi-professional way, especially the people who are monetizing it, making money off of it, which thank God I'm not one of those people. I but except like I would love to, but um you they get it people get into like this thing of like, well, I got to talk about it.
Mm.
Everybody wants to hear about it. So good or bad, I got to talk about it. And then you end up with like, well, people respond to the negative, and then that gets engagement, and then that starts to feed your behavior, and then you start going more down that road. And that's how you end up with all these people like on these alt-right pipelines, right? Is that like they say incendiary things and it gets engagement and that makes them money, and so then they just keep going with it, right? Like
Mm.
because you end up with like this fan base of people that want you to say these things that they're afraid to say, and then you get everybody that hates it, also hate engaging, and you get it, from both angles. um I don't want to go anywhere near that zone. You actually do. My point being is that like you have a choice, right? A choice of how to spend your time and like what to invest yourself in. And I I I don't think that it's good for any of us for me to invest my time in ripping apart season 1 of Andor. I don't know. I haven't made a decision yet of what we're going to do about Andor season 2. I think maybe we can just kind of talk about it, but not necessarily do recap episodes as we have in the past. Like just sort of give like top level thoughts of like I enjoyed that, I didn't enjoy that sort of thing, and then just kind of move on and talk about something else Star Wars. Um and just kind of do our regular thing and not get bogged down in the episode recap aspect of it. I think
Mm.
that's probably what we'll end up doing when Andor is airing. But we'll see as we get closer to it. As we said, I want to see more from Andor season 2 before I make that call. That's kind of
Yeah,
where I'm at.
sure.
Is like my hope is that it doesn't have the same um that season 2 is a slightly different tone, that we're instead of falling into the darkness, we're coming back to the light, right? Like we're kind of like that season 1 is his low point, and that season 2 is how we end up with Cassian, the rebel spy, right?
Mm.
And that as the like obviously there's going to be some dark moments in that journey. He's going to do some things that he's not proud of, but K2 is going to come in at a certain point, and that's going to add a certain amount of levity to it. I think like I want to make that call a little bit closer to game time. I think about whether or not we're going to like get dug into it, or we're just going to like kind of let it exist at the same time as we do.
Yeah,
And we'll
cool.
just talk about whatever else. I feel like we're going to have a lot to talk about after Star Wars Celebration. I know last week I was like, or last episode, 2 weeks ago, I was like super negative about the future, but um, and I am still very cautious about like what we're gonna get and what there is, but I think that there will be a lot more to talk about. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. We can get into the 3 episodes that I watched, and talk about it a little bit more in depth if you want to, Joe. Like if you've got stuff that you want to talk about with Andor. Did you rewatch as well?
Well, I rewatched them just kind of for fun a couple of
Yeah,
like maybe 2 months ago. So
yeah,
it's all pretty fresh in my head. Like I literally just need to look at like, well, I mean, I did, but like I just kind of needed to remind myself, okay, where was the end point of season 3? What were the things that happened? And then, you know, I don't really have honestly, I don't have a ton to say about this series in general that hasn't already kind of been said ad nauseum.
yeah.
Um I you know, it I don't know. I don't know what I want to say. I don't know what I want to say, Michael. I don't know why I'm on this episode.
Listen.
It's,
I think the thing is that we're in very similar
yeah,
spots,
I
right?
mean, yeah, exactly.
It's it it is impossible to deny how great Andor is.
Hmm.
First and foremost, it is an incredibly well made show. That's not the issue for me. The
Hmm.
issue is what the purpose of the show is and what it's trying to do to you as an audience member, right? And it does those things incredibly well. It gets its point across and it affects you in a very real way. That is why I will not watch it again. So I made this analogy to you last night when we were kind of discussing this over text, and I'll say it again here. Um, I don't want to keep watching season 1 of Andor. Like I don't want to rewatch season 1 of Andor for the same reason that I will never replay The Last of Us Part 2.
Hmm.
It is not because The Last of Us Part 2 is not a masterpiece, a perfect video game. And when I say never, it's like maybe one day I'll decide to jump back into it. And I'm psyched as hell for season 2 of the show. Like I can't wait. And when it comes back, I'm gonna renew my subscription so that I can watch it, right? Because I don't have access to any of the HBO stuff. I've missed all of the like Penguin and like a million things because nothing has motivated me to pay that $20 a month. But The Last of Us season 2 will be that thing. I will pick that back up and I will pay for that. And I'll watch all those other shows at the same time, right? Like I'll watch Penguin and whatever else I know I've missed a bunch of things on HBO. Up here we don't get it through HBO. We get it through a thing called Crave, but whatever. It's the same thing. Um, but that video game is so effective at building tension and making you anxious and putting you in situations you don't want to be in. And The Last of Us also does this, but The Last of Us felt very much more like a video game. The
Hmm.
Last of Us Part 2 was them leveling up in terms of narrative storytelling. And although there is quite a bit of action in The Last of Us Part 2, it is way more wandering around in desolate landscapes and building tension and when is shit gonna hit the fan, um and less of the shit hitting the fan and less of i I the first Last of Us has a lot of like, I think it's just it's paced in a way to make you feel like there's hope. And The Last of Us Part 2 is not about that, because it's not about because the point of the first Last of Us is that you Joel is a character who's been like at the bottom, right? And it's him coming back out of that because of Ellie. That's the narrative thread of that game, right? Of that story. So there have to be these moments of like look at the world through her eyes, see things for the first time. You get to the drafts and all of that, and it's like it's fucking beautiful. Like that game is so beautiful. I'll replay The Last of Us. That's fine. Because I know that it has those moments. The Last of Us Part 2 does have stuff like that, but it's all really bittersweet because of what happens at the beginning, which I won't say. I'm being really careful because people have only watched the show. They haven't, if they haven't played the second game.
Right.
I don't want to say anything before
Yeah.
season 2 hits,
Sure.
but I the second game is not about that. It's not about what the first game is about. It is uh much more negative, in terms of its perspective, um and it should be like it, like that's the point of the story. So um I and it's great. It's so good. It's so well done. I just don't want to put myself through that ever again. And Andor season 1 is like, I think it's a very similar experience of like, listen, I know what happens in the prison. I know how he ends up there. I know the injustice of it. I know the very effective feeling of being trapped. I know, all of these things that that Tony Gilroy was so good at getting across to us. I do not want to go back to those places. I don't want to go back to watching Mon Mothma struggle against the current as it like the riptide pulls her out into the middle of the ocean to drown. Cause that's her story, right? And this season 2, this is why I'm psyched for season 2, because season 2 theoretically is her finding a life raft and getting back to shore, right? And
Mm.
becoming Mon Mothma and the rebellion and all of that stuff happening right in, like in the lead up to Rogue One. So it's like, okay, awesome. That I'm behind. That I'm excited about, right? Seeing how that stuff comes together is something that gets me pumped, and I think is like what we need. I think that's what we need as a people at the moment. But what I need personally right now in Star Wars is escapism, right? I need to go on an adventure. Skeleton Crew was so good for that, that in the like in the midst of everything sort of like looming, right, with the timing of that when that show was airing, it's like, the worst happened and it was only the beginning, and we were kind of like in the real world going like, this is not going to be good. It's not going to be good. And Skeleton Crew was an awesome distraction from that every week. And I need more stuff like that. I need more stuff like that in my life right now, not stuff that is just like holding up the mirror and going like, look at how awful humanity is. Look at what we do, right? um yeah. So I guess that's it. I guess that's where I'm at. It's the show is so good, guys. Andor is so good, and if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Like it is so great. It just like, I don't have to watch it. I think that's the difference between now and like when the first season came out. Is that like when the first season was coming out, is like, oh, I have to watch this week to week.
Mm.
It's new Star Wars. But the idea of rewatching it, I would literally rather rewatch any other piece of Star Wars content. Any other piece of Star Wars content. Okay, guys? If it meant that next week I have to do a glowing review of everything that I love about Rise of Skywalker, I'd rather do that. I would rather do that because there's actually quite a lot in Rise of Skywalker for me to talk about that I love. It's actually one of the reasons why the movie makes me so mad. Is because it gets so close. It comes so close. I so like that's actually easy. That's actually not hard. But staying in like a what am I enjoying about this show mindset, as it's like as Tim is like, first of all, his like what a throwaway Star Wars character. The dude's name is Tim. I but anyways, Tim. I as we see him go down the path that he is going down and the pointlessness of it as he's shot by overzealous mall cops, right? Because we're watching last night, and I turned to Crystal. I'm like, because she's Crystal was kind of like doing work, like she was because she had like a report that she had to get finished. So it was like, and it was like, well, I have to watch these tonight because we put it off. So like, hang out, kind of pay attention, whatever. And she was, and I had to like, I stopped at a point and was like, is the point where the one dude is scared and tries to like run away with the dropship, right? But the the people on Ferrix have like hooked the ship to a piece of junk, and so like he takes off and it like hooks around the thing, and then the ship crashes, and then the captain or whatever, like the I think he's the captain, right? Is like what just happened? They're all around us. They've got us surrounded. It's an ambush, right? Like, and he starts going like we're guys, we're in the shit, and it's like no, that was your dude crashing your ship. You guys are the only shit that's happening here. Everybody else ran away and is hiding because they just want you to go away, right? They don't want to be involved in whatever it is that Cassian's gotten himself into. That's what the banging was all about, was a warning to him and to everybody else of like, just go underground. Right? But I turned to Crystal and I'm like, you understand that these guys are not Imperials. They're not stormtroopers. They're not part of the military. They're not even cops. These guys are corporate security. Like they are rent-a-cops. They are secure, like mall security guards with guns that have come into town and started stirring up shit. Like that's what's going on here. And she was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Yeah." And when one of them shoots Tim, and Tim dies, and it's like this is just stuff that we see on the news. It's like that, like dude was your informant. Like you guys don't even know. Your heads are so up your asses, and you're so dedicated to fascism that and so terrified of the decisions that you've made and the reality of what fascism actually looks like, that this dude who is not innocent but doesn't deserve to die gets shot, right? And it's like, and I think I messaged to you, I had said like everything that happens to Bix by the end of this season. I think that this might actually be my biggest sticking point as to why I don't want to watch the rest of the season. Everything that happens to Bix is because of her jealous boyfriend.
Hmm.
Who, if he would have just talked to her, would would have found out like, actually you don't have anything to be jealous of. She actually kind of despises Cassian, right?
Mm.
Like like every one of those moments that he witnesses and then turns away, the next thing that she does is like, don't touch me, dude. Like we're not together anymore. We haven't been for a long time, and it doesn't matter that I care about you. You're toxic. Go away. Right? Like I don't like I'm going to call this dude and he's going to come because it means that you're going to be gone, right? Like that's her thought process. Her thought process is not like, I love you, so I'm going to make a sacrifice. Her
Mm.
thought process is like, if this gets you out of here and away from my life and everybody else that whose lives like you keep doing this to, then like fine, I'll do it. Like, and that's what she like resigns herself to. And then she ends up being tortured by Imperials in the most grotesque fashion imaginable, I and losing her mind, and we have to sit there and just watch it happen. Like I don't, yeah, I don't want to do it. I more than anything else in the season, I do not want to do that. I do not want to watch that character who is by all accounts another like Jin, another Leia, another Rey, and like she is like Kira, all of these female characters from Star Wars that we look at and we go like, look at this badass lady, right? Like Bix is one of those characters, but instead of being able to fulfill that, she's just like broken down in this season. And I am hopeful that there will be like a kind of like a resurrection for that character in season 2. But um I don't have to watch it. Like I know what happens. I remember. I don't need to watch it again. I don't need to watch it again. Um Crystal didn't watch season 1, and that's like the only thing that's got me going like, "Ah, yeah, we probably should watch this." But or at least she should. But yeah, it wouldn't be like, I know the next 3 episodes are all right, but I know that like there's good stuff in there. There is good stuff in there that's worth talking about, but I just don't think I can do it, man. I just don't think I could do it.
Yeah, it's cool.
You know?
It's cool, man.
I just want to talk about I want to like I hate the world that we're living in right now. Like I hate this timeline. I hate the reality of everything. I just want to I think I said this on the last episode. I just want to watch Star Wars and draw cartoons and play video games.
Yep.
That's where I'm at right now, and it's that's not to say that's all I'm going to do, right? That's but I just like I am so desperate at the moment for that to be all that is asked of me. But we're at a point, it's like this, it's the whole thing of like you know I like for evil to succeed, all that's required is for good men to do nothing, right? Like that's what like we're that like we're standing in that right now. We're not even like looking at it on the precipice.
Mm.
Horrible shit is happening today as we record a podcast about Star Wars, right? And it's bad enough that there's like really there's nothing actionable for me to do at the moment, right? But like yeah, it just I just because I am thinking about that on a daily basis and going like, so what is it, like what can I do, what is it that I should do, especially because I'm watching most of this happen in a country that I'm not a citizen of, right?
Mm.
So there's a I ask myself on an almost daily basis like what is there not anything that the rest of the world can do to stop this from continuing, like as we like because we're just like it's like we're on the other side of a sheet of glass. Like there's something like you're watching like an operation, and like it's like I don't think that man's a doctor. Like I really don't think that man's a surgeon. I don't know why he has a scalpel. Is he actually going to cut that person? Oh, he is cutting that person open. They're that person's bleeding out. Is anybody going to do anything? Can we do anything? Can somebody get in there and stop him at least? And it's like nope, and you just see the rows and rows of people that are lined up for surgery, and you're just like cool. I guess I'll just watch. And that just makes me go like, I really wish I could just not care about this and just go watch some Star Wars and draw some silly cartoons. But I've watched too much Star Wars for that to be an option, Joe. You know, like
Yeah.
I've watched too much Star Wars. I've read too many Spider-Man comic books. I have experienced way too many heroes' journeys to to see this happening and go like, yeah, it's okay if I sit this one out. It's fine. It's fine. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. There's just like I said, there's nothing actionable to do right now. There's nothing to actually like pick up and execute
Yeah.
at the moment. When there is, I will do it. And I'm like waiting for those moments. And like up here in Canada, it's like we're on the verge of an election getting called, and when it gets called, and like we have a date and all of that, um, I'll start organizing. But until then, it's like just kind of like sitting on my hands almost. I
Mm.
don't know. I mean, like I do. I just keep drawing cartoons. I just keep making stuff for this RPG. I that hopefully people play and uh, read into the subtext of what it's about. And I yeah. I we can affect the world in that way. I don't know. It's a lot of. I think it's probably a lot of preaching to the choir, but I regardless, I'm just I have to keep drawing those cartoons. I've told people that I'm going to do it, so um, there isn't a choice. But yeah, I don't know. Living in the world of Andor is just not. It's not going to be conducive to any of the other things that need to happen. Um, it's just going to make me mad. That's also a good thing. Like that's all like I think we need to all stay a little bit mad right now, a little bit
Mm.
angry, um but anger, that much anger is probably not helpful, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Being angry about Star Wars isn't going to help me stay angry about the important stuff that I need to be angry about. Um Crystal, we're watching the first episode and Crystal's like, or I guess it's like this. No, when do we meet B2? It's in the first episode, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, what are you, I don't, what are you talking about? There's a little guy right there. And I'm like, oh, first off, B2 is like, this is the most he's going to do. Like in the first episode, like that's the most he's going to do in the whole season until the finale. Um, and like, he's not Chopper. He's not R2. He's not BB-8. Like he is actually the antithesis of those characters. He's just a bummer. He's just a bummer. Cause like there is never a point, even when R2 gets swallowed by a dragon snake and spit back out, even when R2 gets blasted by Darth Vader's TIE fighter, there's never a point where I feel sorry for R2D2.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's like, cause like even if you were watching, and we all know that he's fine, so whatever. But if you were watching Star Wars and R2 gets blasted by Vader in the trench run, you're like, well, I mean, like that little droid was a hero. He died a hero, right? Like that's, I don't feel sorry for him. It's like I'm bummed that if he's gonna be gone, but like he was a little badass and he went out like a little badass. So like fine, right? Whereas like with B2 from like moment one, I'm just like, could somebody just shut this thing down? Like, can somebody just put it out of its misery? Like, and he's not even a depressed robot in the funny way, like in Hitchhiker's Guide, right? Where you have an android with depression in that. But it's hilarious. I no, it's he's just B2 is just like he's just a bummer. He's just a bummer. Anyways, I there are a lot of people I think that have speculated that B2's programming or something will get like
Yes.
injected into K2 and that's how K2 ends up as
I'm in that
K2.
I'm in that camp. Yeah.
Um so I don't know, maybe that'll bear fruit, I but in terms of season 1, B2 is just like actually they don't even call him B2, they just call him B, right? Like B is just uh it's just a bummer. It's just a bummer. I did have one thought while watching the third episode where uh Marva and Cassian's adoptive father, I can't
Mm.
remember his name, where they're raiding the place or whatever, but then it's like she's like, oh, I'm gonna take him, and he's like, don't do it, like what, you're crazy. Where I was like, oh, I watch this show.
Yeah.
I will watch the show about the two of them and this kid. And B2 is not depressed yet. He's just a droid. He's just like, I've done a statistical analysis, and it's like, okay, cool. Um, Yeah, I really like that part of the flashback when she shows up. I really, really like Fiona Shaw's character. Like, I love Marva, uh, but there's not enough. There's not enough in season one for me to be like, okay, she's so great though. My God, she's so great, and her speech in the finale and all of that is so good. But I just can't do it. I just can't do it. As good as the show is, I just can't do it, guys. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I keep saying it because I know that I'm disappointing a few people, because there are some people who are like with the last episode when they saw the art, they were like, "Oh, is this the episode where you guys start talking about Andor?" I said, "No, we do talk a little bit about Andor in the previous episode, but it wasn't. It was just like that. Just was the thing that made sense. But I would rather continue talking about how gay Poe Dameron is on this podcast, and I think that that's a better. I think that that's a better use of our time than to be sad about Andor. Yeah. No, no. Let's have happy beeps, right? Happy beeps. That I think that'll be the the motto for the podcast. There's enough crap going on in the world right now that we need to like be angry and stay angry about that. Like, at least like over here, let's keep just talking about things about Star Wars that we love. Right? Does that make sense?
I think so.
Yeah. So you want to talk about the Last Jedi next episode? No.
I actually read
Did you?
more than half of the book on the
Okay.
flights there and back. So
Okay.
I'm getting very close to being able to do that.
How are you feeling about it so far? Having like, how are you feeling about the book?
The extra context scenes, so like the two that stick out to me are like the very beginning of the book. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really, really enjoy like all the extra stuff is really good.
Yeah.
It's just the movie I don't care for. But
Yeah.
like everything that's like that extra meat is like, oh, this is delicious. Where was this stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
great. I am enjoying it, if nothing else. I don't know that it's gonna change my mind on the film, but I am enjoying it.
Okay. I mean, like, this is the thing is that when you finish it, we'll have a deeper
Sure,
discussion,
sure,
obviously.
sure.
But I mean, I walked away from the Last Jedi starting in a more positive place than you're starting,
Mm,
because you don't care for the movie,
right.
and I was like, I like it, but I don't. There's stuff that's not connecting for me,
Hmm.
right? And then I read the novelization, and I was like, oh man, this is good stuff. Um, and then I went back to the movie, and when I went back to the movie, I was like, okay, okay, like I'm more attuned to what's going on in this story now that I have additional context.
Hmm.
And I think the interesting thing there is that, like, what I walk away from, and I don't think that you're at that point yet, and I don't know that you will, but what I the conclusion that I came to is not that The Last Jedi is missing the additional context. The additional context primed me to better understand what was being presented in that movie in the first place.
Hmm.
And I just think that one of the things that I think one of the most interesting things is that if that movie wasn't Star Wars, if it wasn't the sequel to The Force Awakens, if it wasn't a bunch of white characters and like mostly white characters and white presenting characters, um and was like, if that was an Asian movie,
Mm.
I think that you and I would have been able to go into it with a different perspective and approach some of the story differently and see it the first time, right?
Yeah, I
Be-
mean, for sure. I don't think it's a bad story. It's just the issue I've always had with it is that to me it always feels like the disconnect is too great between the Star Wars I know and the Star Wars that's in front of me.
yeah,
So I don't think it's a bad film. I don't think it's a crappy story. I just think a lot of the connective tissue for me doesn't make a lot of sense.
yeah,
I'm in not in the camp that like, oh, Luke Skywalker has to show up and and kill the entire first order. I have no problem with that final confrontation, but like the fundamental idea that Luke Skywalker failed and would run away forever, that makes no sense to me. Like
Mm,
those are the types of things that like
yeah,
that's not who that character is. That doesn't make any sense. Like it's little things like that that where things fall flat for me in my enjoyment of that movie.
that's why they need to introduce Mara Jade.
I
I
mean,
hate it. I hate
I
it
don't
because it
care.
means
I don't care if we ever get Mara Jade, but I understand what you're saying. Like
I
I
it,
get
it,
why.
I hate that that's my stance because it means that I'm literally saying we need to introduce this character so that we can fridge her. But it is a thing of like he we need something to get him to the point for a lot of the audience. I think that helps us understand why he would be as scared as he is,
Yeah.
right?
That yeah, absolutely.
It I this is the thing. Rise of Skywalker, the one majorly positive thing that it did for me in terms of the overall plot of the Skywalker saga is that Rise of Skywalker gave me the context that I really needed in order to justify what Luke does in the Last Jedi, and specifically in the flashbacks in the Last Jedi. And we've talked about this before, so I won't like belabor it too much, and we'll talk about it more when we get to it. But it's like when he looks into Ben's mind, I am of the opinion he doesn't see Ben. The thing that he reacts to, the reason why he ignites his lightsaber is because he doesn't know it at that point in time, but it's Palpatine.
Yeah.
That's what he's responding to. That's
Mhm.
what his reaction is. Because the last time that he was in that presence was on the Death Star when he was almost killed and his father was killed,
Mhm.
right? So that like and he's worried about the future of the Jedi Order in that moment and about the darkness that they've all been sensing growing in Ben and another Anakin situation,
Mhm.
right? So he's coming in with all of that context. I think I think the piece that would like clinch it for a lot of people if you went back and you told that story is if it doesn't necessarily have to be Mara Jade. It could be a different character. It could you could get there with other things. But I do think that like a decision that Ben made close to that moment resulted in the death of somebody that Luke cares about, right?
Mhm.
And it was a selfish decision. It was a decision that was motivated by the dark side that nobody else understands, that Ben can't explain, and that's why Luke is there, and that's why Luke is suspicious, and blah blah blah, and all of that.
Mhm.
It's not enough like him just peering into his mind and going like, "Oh, it's Palpatine." Right, and reacting to Palpatine, like that's enough for me. I understand why it's not enough for everybody because why did he go in the first place? We don't, and the problem is that we just don't have any of that story.
Mhm.
We just literally have none
Yeah.
of that story, right? We have what happens immediately after it now, right? Because we've got the rise of Kylo Ren, and now there's more issues, and when it gets collected, I'll read it in a trade, but which I think is probably soon because I think it might be done. I think or maybe there's one more issue, but um the Kylo Ren comic series is like picks up from the rise of Kylo Ren to and like leads I don't know if it leads all the way into Rise of Skywalker, but it's definitely like in between.
Mhm.
Um I so like it's like it yeah, the Kylo Ren book is what I've seen is like it kind of like fills in some gaps of the like like from Rise of Kylo Ren to the Force Awakens. Like it starts to like fill in some of that stuff, but then it is like it's like Kylo living a story in between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker.
Mhm.
I haven't, like I said, I haven't read it yet, so I don't know exactly what is and isn't in it. But like I don't know if we see scenes from before Force Awakens, but I've like heard people talking about stuff, so it's like Kylo Ren is at least like talking about becoming Kylo Ren and all
Mhm.
of that. So, um, but yeah, like that's the story that we've gotten so far for all of that stuff, and it's just not enough. Like it's just not enough. Like
Mm.
there's a missing trilogy, and they just need to tell that story. They really just need to tell that story, and I'm gonna hold out hope that at Celebration we get the announcement of the animated series and that that's what it is. That it is like Jedi Academy or something like that, and that it's Luke. It's the like post Mando stuff, and it's Luke and Ben and that it just explains. It just explains and gets us there because I think that that will help. I think that that will help. I don't know. The thing for me is that like I watch the Mandalorian and see the Luke in that, and I think that I have more of the feeling that you have about Luke in the sequel trilogy. I have that feeling about Luke in Mando, where I'm like, I this guy clearly didn't learn any lessons from Return of the Jedi. Like this guy walked away from that and went, I won. I'm a Jedi now, and then just started like being a Jedi and found some holocrons and was like, I'm gonna do it the way that they did it. And it's like, oh, so you didn't learn anything then? Okay, cool.
Mm.
You walked away from that experience and immediately started making the same mistakes that Obi-Wan made. Nice, awesome, rad. Right? That makes sense story wise. It does make sense in terms of like because the sequel trilogy already exists, so it's like yeah, okay, that is congruous to me, like with all of that. But anyways, we just started doing that episode and we need to stop. I need to stop and we'll talk about this more later. But obviously there's a lot here for us to discuss. This is a better use of our time than being grumpy about Andor, right? Is for us to like dissect Luke Skywalker. So cool, that's it. I don't know what we're going to talk about on the next episode. I don't know. We'll talk about something. We'll talk about Star Wars. It's going to be a Star Wars thing. But it's not going to be Andor. Maybe they'll announce more stuff and we'll just talk about more announcements of people that are going to be at Celebration and what that means and who's going to be in the next Star Wars movie. Cause yeah. Cause they already said that John Boyega is going to be there, right? They announced him like a month ago or 2 months
Yeah,
ago.
I think so. Yeah.
And we already know that Daisy is attached to a movie, so it's like yeah, obviously she'll be there to come out on stage, and it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen exactly the way that I said it will. Exactly the way that I said it will. And the reason why they're okay, why they're this just makes me I'm sound like a crazy person. We know that Daisy will come out to give an update on her project. That's exactly how it will be framed. Kathleen Kennedy or Dave Filoni or somebody will be like, "Oh, we're like Daisy, come on out, talk about, give us an update on where your new Jedi Order movie is." And she's gonna come out and she's gonna be like, "Okay, so here's the thing. I know that we said that we were gonna do this movie and it's supposed to come out in like a year or two, but like it's gonna be a little bit longer." But I have a good reason why. Like I have a really good excuse. And then everybody's gonna be like, well, we already know, so just tell us. And so it's gonna be like, she'll be like she's gonna say Peanut. That's how she's gonna introduce him, because like the people who don't know will be like, what is she talking about? But the people who know will like pop so loud when she says Peanut, because that's what John Boyega and Daisy Ridley call each other. So she's gonna say like that, and then he's gonna come out and he's gonna be like, well, yeah, I'm back, but you know I can't come back by myself. You know, like if I'm coming back, you know I got to bring my bestie with me, right? And then that's gonna bring Oscar out, and then we're gonna have like the whole moment. They're gonna be like, yeah, so we're doing 3 movies. It's gonna be great. We're really excited. The story is awesome. There's lots of great reasons for us to all come back. How could we say no? Um, and then will be like the big moment. Like they'll be like, well, that's about it, right? And it's like, and then it'll be the big moment. He won't be there in person.
Mm.
I guarantee this. He won't be there in person. It'll be like a thing pops up on the screen and it'll be Adam Driver, and he'll be like, you guys, you didn't tell me that you were just gonna leave me out of this, like that sort of thing. And they'll play it, and it'll be a funny joke, and it will all laugh, but at the same time, we will be screaming and crying, and there will be tears, everybody will be having. It's like, and but it'll be like, well, I, like it would be perfect if Oscar Isaac is the one to be like, yeah, well, we didn't call you because your character is dead, right? And then that's when you get like either Adam Driver in a very wry way or Daisy Ridley in a very like winking, like hopeful way of like no one's ever really gone, right? And then you're done. And then you're done. And then we can all just like cry ourselves to sleep with happy tears as the world crumbles and go like if society doesn't collapse, we're gonna get them all back on screen together. Yeah, it's a lock at this point. That's what's gonna happen. We'll see how close I am. We'll see how close I am. I
We'll see, buddy. I hope you're right.
I hope
2
I'm
months
right
away,
too.
man. We'll see soon.
Oh, dude, it's so close. We're so close. I thank you guys for listening. This has been a podcast.
This has been a podcast. Out of all the podcasts, this has been one of them.
This has been one of them. Yeah, yeah. Star Wars is cool, guys, and I like Star Wars, and I hope that you like Star Wars, and I hope that we can all enjoy more Star Wars together in the future. I and that's what we're gonna do. So that's why we're not gonna talk about Andor. Um, I just keep circling back to it. Um, but that's it. That's it for this episode. I have nothing else to say. I have nothing additional to say. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for understanding that I cannot put myself through it, and being cool about it. Please, 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 please. I don't know how many that was, but it was a lot of pleases. Go and follow the backer kit page for Enter the Nostalgiatron and check it out. And support it because yeah, because it's really cool.
Did
Even
wait?
if
Did the
you
backer
don't.
page like drop other than the newsletter? Because I don't know if it dropped while I was away.
No, it
Okay,
had no. So
okay,
the
okay,
campaign goes live in a month. The
okay,
campaign officially
okay,
starts on March 13th. So
okay.
we're a
Perfect.
month away. But if you go there right now, if you go to stillfleet.com/enter right now, or if you're listening to this like after March 13th, and I think that it's up for like 3 weeks, um, like then it will be live. Going to that URL is going to take you to the proper page. So because BackerKit has like its own pages, like backerkit.com/whatever, and it's like a bunch of stuff, right? But stillfleet.com/enter is going to take you to whatever the most important page is for Enter the Nostalgiatron. If we're after the campaign, it just means that you can go buy it. So if you're listening to this like 3 years from now, you can go to that URL and at least get the PDF. I don't know that we'll have print copies anymore. Hopefully they've been sold out, but hopefully we've done more printings of it. I don't know. I don't know, guys. The future is unwritten. Okay, but what I need right now on February 13th is for everybody to go to the BackerKit page and follow us. And what that means is that you'll get a notification through BackerKit um, that the campaign has gone live
Mm, cool.
on February 13th. So you won't, or sorry, on March 13th. So you won't forget and you won't miss out on, we have like exclusives that are only going to be available in the first 48 hours. So yeah, like you want to know when that goes live. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
rad.
it. That's it. If you want to know what Enter the Nostalgiatron is, there's like on the last episode I did like a whole thing, and I keep talking about it on all the podcasts. But I it's a role playing game. It's a sci-fi role playing game, and it's a specific adventure inspired by Ninja Turtles and He Man and GI Joe and all of the Saturday morning cartoons that I loved as a kid. So um, yeah, but in like a weird sci-fi setting. It's rad. It's awesome. It's so cool, and I think you guys are going to really like it. If you're listening to this podcast, then it's the sort of thing that you would like. So at least check it out. Actually, we have a teaser page up right now on, or not a teaser page, like a teaser that you can download on Itch. So that's uh oh my, I don't remember the URL for that one. Go to my, you know what, I'll post it on the social media for Force Perspectives. So Force POV on Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, I think those are the places that we are right now. I'll post it. I'll post the link to that. But you can also just find it on my on my art accounts, Archangel Wolf. So do that as well. You can see
Yeah.
more of it. You can see more of the book in those places, like the actual PDF of the book. That's it. That's it. That's the whole episode.
That's it,
That's it.
man.
We're done. We did it. Congratulations to us. I think we did a good job not doing the full season of Andor, season 1. I think we should be congratulated. I think it was very heroic of us to choose not to talk about it.
That's us, the big heroes.
Yeah. Anything you need to plug or talk about before we wrap it up?
Oh, so soon. So soon. Not yet. So
So
soon.
soon. Not yet. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you guys. We will see you in a couple weeks on another episode. We have no sign off on this show, Joe. Come up with one right now.
If this were in person, I would have just jumped off the closest window ledge.
Okay, cool. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Follow Force Perspectives on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ForcePOV. And join us on Discord at thunderquack.com/Discord. Support the show by visiting us at patreon.com/thunderquack to get early access to episodes, leave a rating and review on your favorite podcast service, or buy merch at store.thunderquack.com. Force Perspectives is a part of the Thunderquack Podcast Network.